Hollywood's top action blockbuster is released, Fast Furious 10, the most anticipated movie for speed enthusiasts, along with the main cast, and the appearance of Aquaman as Dante, together with Brie Larson as Tess. Beginning the story, Dom's entire team faces a unique villain. That's Dante, a top-tier villain. It's been 2 years since the last mission ended. The Toretto family has had some time to enjoy a peaceful life together, and this is Marcos, Brian's son. The boy has also become an excellent drift racer, under Dom's guidance, and became the team leader. Now, they have another mission, to go to Rome and steal a chip. They didn't know that this mission would push them into a situation easy to go, hard to return. After sending off Roman, Tej, Han, and Ramsey on their way to Italy, Dom and Letty were talking about everything they've been through. At that moment, a silver car approached from a distance. Stepping out of the car was Dom's arch-nemesis, Cypher. She rang the doorbell to call for Dom's help. Seeing Cypher in front of him, Dom charged forward to attack, ready to take down the one who once killed his loved one. At this moment, Cypher says he can kill her if he wants, but he should worry about the lives of the 4 people over there first. Dom hears this and, not understanding, lets Cypher into the house. Cypher recounts that just a few hours ago, her headquarters was stormed by a stranger, dragging along the bodies of 2 of her guards. This guy made it clear that his name is Dante, and demanded cooperation to take down Dom's team, because she didn't like working with anyone, so she decided to refuse Dante's request. But she didn't expect Dante to kidnap Cypher's relatives as hostages. They saw this and pointed their guns at Cypher. After that, Dante took all of Cypher's data and ordered them to kill her. Luckily, Cypher disabled their weapons beforehand. She fought alone against those close soldiers. After taking down a few, Cypher was exhausted and couldn't handle the soldiers alone. They overpowered her with sheer numbers, pushing Cypher against the wall, trying to kill her. At that moment, Cypher unlocked her weapon, grabbed a gun, and shot down each soldier. She pulled the power cable, plunging the headquarters into darkness, and quickly ran into the elevator shaft to escape. The reason Cypher came to Dom first is because she knows that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. After hearing Cypher's story, Dom immediately contacted the agency, asking them to take Cypher into custody. After hearing what happened to Cypher, Dom realized that the journey to Rome might be a trap. Then they immediately went to Rome to save their team. At this moment, under Roman's command, the 4 of them start executing their heist plan. Roman drives a yellow Lamborghini ahead of the convoy transporting the chips. The blinding light pierces straight into the driver's eyes. Han uses a smoke grenade to block the view of the money truck behind. Tej and Ramsey take the chance to jump onto the truck. They open the door and pull the driver down, but right after they sat in the driver's seat, the truck immediately lost control. The doors were also locked tight, unable to open. Meanwhile, Dante was silently controlling everything when he pressed the button to activate the bomb. A series of violent explosions occurred in the armored vehicle. People on the streets around ran in panic, seeing his plan unfolding smoothly. Dante's exuberant laughter filled the streets of Rome. At that moment, Dom heard the explosion and quickly accelerated, racing towards the sound at high speed. Tej was trapped in the truck. He then heard a noise coming from the back of the truck. Opening the door, he fell back. It turns out the back wasn't holding computer chips at all, but a massive nuclear bomb. If an explosion occurs, half of Rome's area will no longer exist. The city will also be reduced to rubble. Upon hearing about the incident, Roman and Han quickly changed the car's direction. Dom and Letty also arrived just in time. After hearing about the situation, the accompanying agent, Bowie, says they can defuse it, but their priority is to stop the truck. Seeing that the main character Dom also joins the battle, Dante remotely controls the truck to crash into Dom's car. Fortunately, his driving skills are excellent, so escaping from such a situation was too easy. At this moment, Dom shoots cables on both sides of the road. Trying to stop the truck, Dante sees this and immediately opens the truck's rear door. Seeing the truck about to get caught in the steel cables, Dante detonated the bomb under the truck. The truck immediately flipped over. The impact from the explosion caused the truck to overturn and continue sliding. Roman and Han flanked it, trying to prevent it from going down the road, but in the end, under the force of inertia, the spherical bomb slid out from the back of the truck, unintentionally crushing everything in its path. Dom and Letty quickly chased after it, trying to prevent the situation from getting worse. Up there, Dante has recorded everything that Dom's team just did, and uploaded it to the FBI, demanding a worldwide manhunt for them. Then, he rides his motorcycle, preparing to eliminate the only person who can stop the nuclear bomb. At this moment, Letty and Dom are ahead and behind each other. other, chasing the spherical bomb rolling quickly down the street. Coincidentally, Letty is the first to recognize the villain Dante. Dom continues chasing the bomb. Letty decides to pursue Dante, but the bomb keeps rolling and crashes into a gas station. Immediately, flames erupt around the streets. The bomb, now soaked in gasoline, burns like a torch. The Rome police are blocking the way and pointed the gun, shooting continuously. So, he turned the steering wheel and rammed into the nuclear bomb, trying to change its trajectory. The heat shattered the windshield immediately. Finally, the bomb collided with the police car and stopped. Meanwhile, Dante was running behind Agent Bowie's car. He threw a time bomb under Bowie's car. Then, he laughed gleefully and sped past. Letty immediately told Bowie to jump out of the car. Right after the mysterious person pressed the button to detonate the bomb, Bowie's Hummer instantly blew up and accidentally hit the nuclear bomb, which had stopped. The whole team witnessed the nuclear bomb rolling down again. Dom quickly shifted into reverse when he saw that. He tried to stop the bomb. However, under the influence of gravity, the nuclear bomb is back on the streets. And it also split a bus in two. Meanwhile, Ramsey, Roman, and Han escaped through the sewers. And she can track Letty's location while the chase between Dante and Letty on the streets continues. Dante realizes someone has hacked into his control system. Dante kicks a streetlight, causing it to fall. Letty calmly grabs the brake. Drifting the car's tail easily avoids obstacles. Two people are chasing each other at high speed on the streets of Rome. Just as Letty is about to catch Dante, a group of police suddenly appear and block the way. Letty can't avoid them and falls. She can only watch as Dante escapes. Dom knows that he can't stop the nuclear bomb from detonating. So, you decided to drop the bomb into the river. To reduce the power of the nuclear bomb, you released the last two nitrogen tanks and used the gas pedal to spin the tail of the large crane. The idea was for the counterweights on the crane to push the nuclear bomb into the river. After escaping, Dante stopped the car, stood on the mountain, watching Dom save Rome. The bomb exploded. A massive mushroom cloud rose from the river. All buildings within a few miles were leveled. Shockwaves from the massive explosion shook the entire city of Rome. After the blast, the once great and magnificent city became a pile of rubble. All family members became the #1 international fugitives. This is the most insane and terrifying villain in the entire Fast Furious series. One of the craziest and coolest villains. And the reason he holds a deep grudge against Dom's crew actually starts in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 10 years ago. At that time, the big drug lord Reyes actually had a son, named Dante. He was diagnosed with a psychophysiological disorder from a young age. When he found out Dom was planning to attack a base where his family's money was stored, Dante swore that Dom would pay for what he'd done. But what he didn't expect was that Dom's group's real target was the entire fortune of his family, while Dante, his father, and their group were figuring out how to deal with Dom's crew coming to steal. Dom and Brian were driving into the police headquarters, using a hook to pull the entire vault out. When he arrived, there were only 2 giant holes left in the vault. Seeing that Dom and Brian had stolen all of the family's assets, Dante immediately drove after them. At this moment, Dom and Brian were towing the safe. The safe was rolling, destroying everything along the roadside. To ensure safety, Dom decided to face the police and Dante alone. He pulled the lever and changed the direction of the car. The safe was lifted and rammed into the eel. At this moment, the police car arrived and crashed into the safe. Seeing this, Dante signaled the gunman to shoot at Dom. Just as the soldier was shooting, Dom suddenly changed direction, causing the large safe to hit Dante's car and knock it into the river. Thanks to Aquaman's aura, Dante survived after falling into the river. Witnessing his father's death, unable to say a word, he blamed Dom for everything and became the person he is today. Then, over the next 12 years, he bribed all the Roman authorities. And that's why Rome was bombed today. Shaw's mother asked Dom to find a place to hide temporarily. Now, the war has spread everywhere. His family lost contact. He's the only one left, unable to face Dante, because of Dom's group's disappearance. The agency has temporarily changed leadership, Amaze, and a warrant has been issued for Dom's team, while Dom's team has been fully dedicated to the organization. After Tessa's advice failed, Amaze started hunting down Dom's entire team. Intelligence officers from all over gathered in Los Angeles, preparing to kidnap Dom's nephew, the boy Marcos. At this moment, the boy Marcos and his aunt Mia have no idea. He's playing a racing game with his aunt. A smoke grenade suddenly rolls in, making them both realize danger is approaching. Along with dozens of agents storming into the house, Mia grabs a pan from the table and throws it at them. But with only one person's strength, Mia can't defeat these agents. Right after that, she was knocked down on the table by an agent. Mia quickly told Marcos to run away as fast as he could. Marcos ran upstairs and hid in the bathroom. Suddenly, the door opened. It was Jacob, Dom's younger brother, who arrived just in time. Jacob told the boy to stay put and he'd take care of the rest. Then, he went out to deal with the remaining agents. Seeing Uncle Jacob's imposing figure gave reassurance. These agents are nothing special either. After a tense shootout, the agents were continuously taken down by Jacob. Then Jacob took Marcos to his secret base. To meet Dom again, the two drove a long distance to a gas station and assumed new identities, then used fake passports to take a plane and continue their journey. However, before the plane landed, Jacob dragged Marcos to the warehouse to board a prepared airship and descend from an altitude of 10,000 meters. In midair, they deployed the wings and flew to a secret base. At this time, the beautiful girl, Tess, arrived at a bar. She received a message from Dom that they would meet here. These guys approached, looking to pick a fight. She moved closer and took action against Tess. Even though she's a woman, Tess throws a mean punch. Just one punch and the guy was down on the floor. She grabbed the other guy's head and slammed it against the bar, received a shotgun from the bartender, asked everyone if anyone else wanted to step up. At this moment, she noticed a familiar figure in the corner, and turned back to order 2 Corona beers from the bartender. He went to Dom, offered him a beer, and said she used the eye of God to investigate Letty's identity, and also found out that Letty was being held in solitary confinement far away. At this point, Dom hoped Tess could help him rescue Letty. Then he took the cross necklace and placed it on the table, then went alone to Brazil to find Dante and settle things. Meanwhile, Roman's group was globally wanted. They escaped to London by hiding in a container. They decided to buy some gear to help Dom face Dante, but what the 4 of them didn't expect was that their bank accounts had been hacked long ago. That money was used by Dante to hire mercenaries to hunt them down. The money Dante used to hire mercenaries was actually their own. While the 3 were arguing about the money, Roman suddenly pulled out a wad of cash from somewhere, and it was strapped to his body. Then, he divides some money for each person. Let them remind themselves. After that, under Han's guidance, he tells everyone outside that he'll handle it alone. He rings the apartment doorbell. Shaw is surprised to see Han, but before Han can say anything, Shaw pulls him inside, grabs him by the collar, and slams Han to the floor. Shaw refused to listen to Han's explanation. He immediately kicked Han into the boxing bag until they saw the armored vehicle of the special forces burst in. Seeing the imminent danger, they finally started to work together. Han took charge of driving to distract the agents. Shaw handled eliminating the remaining agents. With the coordinated efforts of both, all the agents sent to arrest them were knocked to the ground. After trying to unlock the door, the 3 managed to get in. When Shaw heard the truth of the story and discovered his mother was also a target of Dante, so he quickly grabbed his gear and drove to save her. At this moment, Dom arrived in Brazil, and it was quite a coincidence to meet Dante, who had been waiting for a long time. It seems Dante likes the color purple, but who knows if he's loyal, and even challenged Dom to a race. It was clear Dante had prepared for every plan. He knew he couldn't beat this legendary racer, so he placed bombs under the cars of Dom's 2 friends, and forced Dom to choose which one to save. After his sister signaled the start, the 4 cars revved their engines hard. At this moment, all of Dom's focus were all focused on saving their friends. Diego wanted to win this race, so he released the nitrogen to speed up the car. Isabel wouldn't let Diego win, so she floored the gas pedal to catch up. Dante saw this and activated 2 bombs under Diego and Isabel's cars. As the bomb countdown was nearing its end, Dom ultimately chose to save Isabel. Dante activated the bomb under Diego's car. His race car immediately exploded, flying off the track. However, Dante wasn't satisfied with this. His real intention was for both of them to die together. Dom swerved and crashed into the side of Isabel's race car. The car instantly flipped over from the strong impact. At that moment, the bomb stuck under the car fell off, but Dante was a step too late, because he detonated the bomb after it had fallen. Under Isabel's moving car, a fierce fire erupted. The explosion created a strong force, causing the car to flip and skid down the road. Seeing Isabel in danger, Dom rushed to stop the car, and the reason he treats Isabel specially is because Isabel is Elena's biological sister who passed away. After Dante meets Dom again, he immediately speeds away. Thanks to Isabel's hint, Dom found Dante's headquarters. Dom looked back at the images on the wall from the old money heist. Suddenly, the phone beside him rang. It was a call from Dante. Dante told Dom that he would slowly destroy Dom's family and make him feel the pain of losing a loved one. After speaking, he hung up and went straight to Isabel's house. At the same time, the investigation team arrived after receiving Dante's tip, and they arrested Dom right at Dante's base, with a maze behind them. Meanwhile, Letty is being held by the special agents. Surprisingly, the person lying next to Letty is Cypher. Cypher uses the control system next to the bed. She releases smoke, causing the guards to pass out. And Cypher also unlocks Letty's handcuffs so they can escape together. But then Letty turned around and punched Cypher hard. All this time, Letty has harbored a deep resentment towards Cypher. Initially, Cypher manipulated Dom, causing Dom and his family to turn against each other. Now, she finally has the chance for revenge. Cypher fights back and presses hard on Letty's wound. Letty immediately presses hard on Cypher's wound too. At this moment, Cypher grabs Letty and slams her against the wall, but Letty used her legs to push her into the wall. The force of the push sent both of them back to the starting point. The two charged at each other, continuing to fight, trading punches, but still no clear winner. Letty suddenly grabbed a shard of glass from the ground and threw it at Cypher's face. Then, she jumped up and kicked Cypher down. After the kick, Cypher was knocked out. Seeing this, Letty tries to climb up through the air conditioning duct. When she opens the door, Letty finds herself in Antarctica, so she reluctantly has to return to the base. Meanwhile, Dom is sitting in the Intelligence Bureau's car with Amaze. Hearing the sound of helicopters outside, he understands that Dante won't stop here. He hurriedly fastens his seatbelt, and the people around him mock him. Suddenly, a missile struck them. After the attack, the agent's car immediately flipped over. Amaze quickly stepped out of the car and realized that it was Dante's mercenaries who had fired at his car. At that moment, Dante pulled Isabel out from the trunk. Seeing Isabel in danger, Dom floored the gas pedal of the overturned car and used it as a shield to save Isabel. At this moment, Amaze saw it and understood. He looked over and saw that Dom was unarmed. Amaze then tossed Dom a gun. With Amaze's timely reinforcement, Dom advanced and cleared out the mercenaries. Just as Dom ran out of ammo, Amaze provided backup from behind. Dante realized the situation was no longer in his favor. He took Isabel as a hostage to threaten Dom. But at the crucial moment, Tess arrived just in time. She eliminated the two remaining henchmen behind Dante. Tess held Dante at gunpoint to force him to release Isabel. Dante let Isabel go, as Tess warned him to. At this point, Don had no more concerns. He rushed in and landed every punch on Dante. Dante was beaten until his nose bled. A few more of his teeth were broken. However, he didn't care about that. When he raised his hand, an accomplice from afar attacked Tess. A bullet took down Tess along with Amaze. Then the shooter aimed directly at Isabel. Dom could only watch Dante leave helplessly. The reason Dante had to do this was because he wanted to get the God's Eye in Tess's possession, to find the location of Marcos and the uncle. He wants to make Dom feel the pain of losing a loved one. As expected, with the help of the God's Eye, Dante quickly found Marcos's location, and the mercenaries followed closely behind. At this point, Marcos followed Jacob into a warehouse. This place used to be an old mine, which Jacob later bought to use as his secret base. Marcos moved in and hugged Jacob tightly. They know well that the road ahead will be full of challenges. In the distance, Marcos suddenly sees a car covered up. Out of curiosity, the boy walks up and pulls off the cover. In front of him appears a massive cannon. Jacob tells Marcos that this is his latest creation, but unfortunately, it's still incomplete. Just then, the alarm of the secret base blares. Dante led his mercenary team here. Jacob quickly threw off the cover so the boy could see the entire thing. It was clearly a Chevrolet from 1967 with two homemade guns. After flying out of the quarry, though it's an old car, it's quite powerful with heavy weapons. Upon seeing the target appear, Dante decided to capture Marcos alive. Then, he leaped off the tall tower to join the team hunting Marcos and Jacob. The soldiers following them didn't let the two off. As they chased, they split into two paths. Seeing the enemy surrounding them from all sides, Jacob loaded his gun, while Marcos pulled the trigger. A bullet was fired from the gun barrel, with such force that the opponent's car was sent flying. Jacob quickly slammed on the gas to escape from the enemy's encirclement. Then, he pulled the gun slide to reload. Marcos also fired just in time. However, this time he hit the mountainside. Luckily, the falling rocks helped them take care of the enemies behind. Quickly, both of them race through the chase and climb onto a highway. Just then, when Jacob wants to reload, the gun jams at the critical moment. He sees the enemies getting closer. Jacob can only change direction and crash into the mercenaries. Suddenly, a transport plane swoops overhead. Dom has arrived. To save Marcos and Jacob, Dom chose the option to directly jump down with the car. Dom shifted into reverse and drove the car straight off the transport plane, falling down and crushing two of the mercenaries' cars. Due to the fall from such a height and the car's weight, the two cars were instantly thrown into the air, crashing into the back of the pursuers. The highway turned chaotic in an instant. Dom told Jacob to take Marcos to the airport, but midway, Marcos moved to the back of the car to fix the damaged gun barrel. But unexpectedly, Dante was right behind him and sped up, pulling the boy into his car. Then, he rammed the car to push Dom off the road. Dom was pushed into the opposite lane. He maneuvered, trying to find a chance to save his son, but at that moment, some armored vehicle vehicles rushed toward Jacob. He blamed himself for putting Marcos in danger. Jacob decided to sacrifice himself to help Dom save the boy Marcos. He aimed the cannon at the ground, then turned the car and hit the fire button. The car immediately launched into the air, and after flying up, it fell down, blocking the path of the approaching armored vehicles. The strong impact caused the gas tank in the car to explode. Dom quickly made it past the explosion. Seeing this, Dom just wanted to take down Dante to settle the score. Dante thought Jacob was dead after that, so he eagerly left in the car. At this moment, 2 planes arrived. They shot steel cables at Dom's car to pull him off the road. Unexpectedly, Dom's car had such immense power. Seeing the back of Dom's car lift up, but in the end, Dom pulled it back down. Dom immediately switched on the nitro, stepped on the gas hard, and sped down the road below. It caused the 2 helicopters to crash into each other. This wiped the smile right off Dante's face. He accelerated, preparing to escape from here. Dom communicates through the radio, telling Marcos to get ready. Then, he turns the car with 2 helicopters following behind. He waits for the right moment and crashes into Dante's car. After the collision, Dante's car loses control. Marcos sees this opportunity and opens the car door. He jumps forcefully into Dom's car, which is waiting. Thus, Dom successfully rescues Marcos. He immediately hits the gas and leaves the scene, and informed Amaze to prepare for takeoff. But just as they passed a dam, suddenly, from the front and the back, 2 container trucks approached, blocking the road. Dante's voice also came through the radio. He wanted to give Dom and Marcos a gigantic gift. At this moment, Roman's group arrived by plane. Dom immediately told them to turn back quickly, but it was already too late. A cruise missile shot down Roman's plane. Everyone on the plane didn't have time to escape. They were hit and crashed into a nearby mountain. The one who fired the missile was Amaze from the Special Forces. The reason is that he had contact with Dante 10 years ago. Seeing Dom take everything from them, the 2 decided to team up for revenge on him. Dante remotely started the oil tanker and rammed into Dom. Dom immediately told Marcos to fasten his seatbelt. Today, Dom would showcase his driving skills in front of the boy. Along with shifting gears and stepping on the gas, the car crashed through the wall and flew off the cliff. Fire erupted from the collision between the truck carrying oil like a torrent. It quickly spread behind the 2 of them. In the blink of an eye, the flames were engulfing them. Somehow, the car fell into the river, but Dante felt that the game wasn't over. He immediately detonated the bomb that had been planted on the dam. Meanwhile, in the distant Antarctic, Letty and Cypher had made it outside. Suddenly, a nuclear submarine appeared before them. The person emerging from inside was none other than Hans Old Flame, thought to be dead. At the same time, a team of Federal Bureau agents, rushing into a church. The top agent notices a phone on the table. A voice comes from the other end. He tells the agent to brace himself. "The next one is you."